This is Hot Mic.
Hot Mic.
On the networks of WDAY.
WDAY.
Here's Dom Izzo.
Welcome back, everybody. Hour 2, ready to rock and roll here on this Hump Day Wednesday. Bison Media Zone coming up in about a half hour. Mike McFeely will join me in studio, get us ready for NDSU Northern Iowa. We'll chat a little bit on signing day as well, and some Bison hoops from last night. That's coming up in about a half hour's worth of time. Tomorrow, we are loaded on the show. I believe we're going to get Kevin Feeney tomorrow. The Spuds are leaving for Minneapolis tomorrow. They're going to get a front row seat to watch that Minnetonka Edina game. Since we're on location Friday, we'll visit with Kev tomorrow to get you ready for the Spuds and Lakeville South. That comes up Friday night in the 6A semifinals. The winner of that plays for the state championship a week from Friday. Going to be just a dynamite next few days of football. Including that is the North Dakota 9-man championship game, and it is a rematch, or not a repeat, of what happened last year. It is the new Rockford-Sheyenne Maddock against Lemoore Litchfield Marion. Lobos head coach, one of our favorites to join us, Andy DeLaBarre, here on the show this morning. You were just visiting off air. We'll get to the football game. This is a pretty cool day for your family. Your daughter signed her official letter of intent to go to North Dakota State and compete in track and field for the Bison today. Congratulations on that, bud.
Oh, thank you. It's just happy for her. She's a proud parent moment, and got to pull out the Bison gear today. So it was a good day, and just I remember, that feeling, and for her just to know where her future lies, at least the next 4 years or 5 years or however long. But yeah, it's an exciting morning for the family.
Did you have a whole signing party way back when?
No, I think I went into the Bishop Ryan Library and put on my Bishop Ryan Letterman's jacket and signed a paper and took a picture.
I was going to say, did you have to send a fax in? I'm assuming to send the fax into Fargo.
Oh yeah, it was a fax, and I remember still even as a GA at NDSU, they still waited by the fax machine. They pulled it out in the conference room, and as they would roll in, they would sort of celebrate, and yeah, it was kind of a fun deal.
Little different now. If I understand correctly, all she had to do was take a picture and then send it basically to NDSU, correct?
Yeah, I think my wife scanned it so it would look a little more official, and he wanted it to look nice when she sent it to the coaches.
That's awesome. Congratulations on that. I hear you got a football game this weekend. This seemed like this was going to be the matchup before the year even started. In your mind, did you think, well, we are the two best teams again, that this is, if we do what we're supposed to do, we got a chance to play New Rockford again?
Yeah, I think we did. We knew what they were bringing back. We knew what we were bringing back, obviously. And, it's still the grind of the regular season. And, going through Region 1, it's, we had a very tough region. When you look at the semifinals with Hankinson and South Border in there too, it was a testament to the talent that we have down in our region. So, but yeah, it was just, our focus all year was on us. We can't look ahead. We can't look at, who we're playing Friday night. It had to be on us throughout this entire year. And, there's these little gaps between second place and first place. And, that's what we concentrated on throughout the season, was filling those gaps. And we knew it had to be a lot of little things to build up to getting over that hump. And, we're fortunate to be in this opportunity to get that second chance.
How much did last year fuel this team in your mind?
Everything. When we left that Fargo Dome, it sat in our pit in our gut for 12 months. And, for us to be back in this position, usually you celebrate pretty extensively after a semifinal win, knowing you're going to the Fargo Dome. And, we were pumped up, we were excited, but it was, I looked at the eyes of our boys, and it was kind of like, what's next, coach? And I just like that, because we knew we had bigger things in vision for this season.
Now, with this matchup here, and we were talking a little bit off air, is this the same team from a year ago? How different, in your opinion, is New Rockford, what you're going to see from a year ago this time?
Well, they're a highly, prolific offense. They're a team that, you look at last week, they scored 72 points, and they can score fast. And so I think, our keys, like everything, is if we can control the time of possession in a good way, not meaning they're scoring fast and we're not. We have to really look at what they're talented in, and they're really good throwing the ball, but they tend to trick you too. They throw the ball a bunch, but they're a pretty good run team too. So I think they're different, but very high powered offense, so still like they were last year.
I'm trying to do this. You'll know the stat better than I, but between your playing and coaching, is this like your seventh or eighth different Dakota Bowl that you've been in, whether it's a player or coach?
This would be this would be my third as a Lobo. I
Yeah.
was once as a Cardinal
Yeah.
and once as a Lion, so
Okay.
five,
Okay.
five,
That's
five
pretty
in the
good,
Dakota
man.
Bowl. Yeah,
There's only been 33 of them, so that's almost about a sixth of the time you've
yeah.
been there. When you think about that, tell me what goes through your mind.
Well, just the experience our boys get to have. I mean, that's why I think I coach, is to help give those guys an experience, teach them life lessons, and for them to have success and to be on the big stage of a state championship, and just really a cool spot for them to be in. My son's a freshman; he's getting to be a part of that too. So you see that as a dad, and all these boys are family. You spend all this time together, and our players truly feel like they're a brotherhood, and it's just the love of playing football and being together, and just now playing on the big stage like the Dakota Bowl.
I want to talk about Gunner in a second, but give me your lowdown on Preston Arndt. What kind of player he is? I know that there's Division I circling around him. What has he meant to your team this season?
Well, he's the change he made from last year to this year, and what he's done to his body physically, and I think his football IQ has improved, immensely. And so he's a guy on the line, both offense and defensive line, that causes a lot of problems for teams. And so when you have a kid like that, he goes undershadowed a little bit with Gunner and some of the other athletes. But without him, we're with not in this position we are because of what difference maker he is up front.
We got to see last year, I think the state did with Gunnar Thielges and what he did. I know it was a losing effort in the Dakota Bowl. Then he gets commits to NDSU. Obviously, all the eyeballs are going to be on him. How has he performed, knowing full well the defenses were certainly going to try and stop him, and more people were watching him this year?
Well, Gunner's probably the most level-headed kid I've coached, and I don't know if he gets flustered. He's really sharp on just playing the next play, and whether that's nine guys focused on him or one or two, he'll just play that play. And I hope he gets real comfortable in the Fargo Dome, because it's going to be his home for the next 4 or 5 years. So it's a good spot for him to remember where he was, and just don't we don't have to be anything different. That's the thing about our whole team is, Gunner doesn't have to be any more special than he already is, and nor does Preston Arndt or Mason Morgan or any of our players. They got to be them, be who they've been all season long, and go play football.
Andy, I see you. I mean, you guys have dominated this year. You really haven't been in a close game. If that happens, how do you think your team will react on Friday?
Well, I think we've had moments this season. It hasn't been a four quarter, grinded out type of football game we've ever played, but we've been in moments where, we've had to deal with adversity. And so taking those little snippets are hopefully what we can bring into a tight game, if that's where this ends up being. And I assume it will. It's the best two teams in the state playing. And so our kids are pretty focused. They're very intentional with what we do every day, and I think that helps too. So if we do get into a four quarter situation, nothing again changes for us.
Yeah.
We just go out and play the next play.
Was just visiting with Jacob Holman about sharing this with his dad. You just mentioned your son on the team. Describe that, and if you've just taken a moment to say this is pretty unique of what you guys have had together this year.
Yeah, it's fun. When we won it in 21, he was our ball boy, and now he's kind of looking me right in the eye instead of looking up at me. So no, I'm proud dad. I'm very happy. He's contributing to our team too. A lot of time freshmen don't play, and he's plays a big role for us on offense. And so yeah, it's a special time for our family, and we should certainly enjoy it.
When's the I'm always interested in this, where the line is when coach stops and dad starts. How have you guys worked that out in your family?
It's a challenge, and that's it's probably harder for my girls because I got to remind myself I'm dad first all the time. So my girls would probably say I'm harder on them than Owen does. So, but yeah, there is a line, and I always tell them, I said, if I'm dad first, but if there's a moment where you need me to be dad, just say, Dad, I need you to be dad here, and I will. So yeah.
Now, here's the crazy part of you being in this game or being in the Dakota Bowl so often. You've played it all times, but last year you had the noon game. You got the 9 a.m. What are the challenges that present itself with that kickoff on Friday?
Just the earlier start, but I think for us it's better. I think most coaches would prefer that first game over the noon. You don't stand around, you don't get tight watching the game before, and so for us, we can kind of keep our routine down. We get up early, have breakfast, get to the Fargo Dome, walk the hallways, just kind of get the blood flow, and I'm excited. I love that first game, so we're good to go.
Do your players know that you played in that building? Do they have any idea of that? You have to break out the old tapes to show, hey, I
I
played?
I haven't done that. Maybe I've talked about it a few times. I don't know. Maybe I'm getting too old and I shouldn't talk about the good old days. But yeah, I think I showed my one touchdown clip once to my kids and uh, the uh, the old post over the middle.
Yeah. Were they impressed?
I don't know. I think eyes rolled a little bit. So.
I'm interested seeing the level of nine man, how it's increased, how just the play has gotten better. You've seen it up close. Is it just better talent? What's the reason why nine man ball has gotten so good over the last 5-6 years?
Yeah, there's definitely talent in these rural North Dakota towns, and you're seeing it from kids like Gunner to Preston Art to the Simon and the Ben's kid from New
Yep.
Rockford, Walker Broughton last year going to the NDSU. So yeah, there is talent out there, and you don't just see it in football. I think you see it across the board because there's so many multi-sport athletes in Class B, and I think that translates into the sport that they really want to be good at. And so if it's football, most of those guys are basketball, wrestlers, track, baseball, and that's the thing with our kids. They're not just one or two sport athlete; they're three or four sport athletes.
All right, I'm always curious on this, especially for the smaller schools. What's the send off plan? What do you got planned for tomorrow?
Yeah, we got pep rally at 12:30. A shout out to I know Eric Muslin from the credit union is going to have fireworks for us. He always does.
That's awesome.
Uh, so we'll hit the road, and coaches will probably play some pinochle on the road, and get to Fargo, get a little practice in, get some food, go to the all-state meeting, go to bed, play football.
Is that what you do on the bus as well, or you need to be in the zone?
I play pinochle. If I can just keep my mind off of football for a little bit, it's a good thing.
I got to ask here now, getting ready for the game. You've done this before. What are your thoughts? What do you think is going to go through your mind right before kickoff on Friday?
I think just feel like we're prepared, and we've got another day today and tomorrow to kind of wrap things up. It's not real physically challenging right now. It's more of a mental challenge for our boys, and so just once we get lined up after the national anthem and we tee up the ball, it's football player versus football player, and that's where it's going to come down to our kids just relying on what we've done all year, and just focusing on Lobo football, and just that's all it is going to take.
I know you were a little busy on Saturday. Did you catch what happened in Grand Forks at all?
I caught it. I caught the end, so we didn't get the full recap, but I probably wore my bison gear this week.
What is it about that you played up there? What is it about that makes it such a tough place for NDSU or anybody, frankly, to play up there?
Well, it's a big venue game for UND. That I know they have some other rivalries, but this is the ultimate one,
Yeah.
and I think NDSU's been the poster child for college football, especially at the FCS level. And I think if UND wins that game, that's a big boost to their program. And so it's not an easy place to play by any means. I think NDSU's always had a challenge going in there, but it was good to see them overcome that environment and the adversity they went through and just pull out a win.
I got an email to ask before we go. Is Preston aren't anywhere as big as his dad? And his dad was a giant for NDSU.
Preston wishes he was as big as his dad, but he's certainly growing. I mean, the size. I think he's as strong as his dad, though. That's one thing when I remember when Michael was he was just kind of a freshman in college or even a senior in high school, and we would be at the lake and kind of mess around on a floating dock, and I think he hip tossed me about 3 times, and he was just still a little immature kid. So Preston's definitely got his dad's strength, and but he's definitely faster than his dad.
Oh.
I'll say that.
It's great to see you, bud. Safe travels tomorrow. I'll see you on Friday. Thanks for doing this morning.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Dom. Thank you.
Andy DeLaBarre joining us, Lemoore Litchfield Marion head football coach, the Lobos and the Rockets. Two of my favorite nicknames, two of my favorite coaches that are going to go at it here in a rematch of last year's Dakota Bowl. New Rockford-Sheyenne got them last year in a game, and if you remember watching it, I mean, there was big plays after big plays, and I don't know if New Rockford's got that high power here in 2025. They're still awfully darn good, but I'm just looking through this real quick before we go to break. For Lemoore this year, their games, they won by 30. They won by 58, by 43, by 30, by 57, by 52, by 60, by 40, by 52, by 50. Their closest game was their semifinal game. They won by 36. I mean, that's outright domination of what they've done this season. So looking forward to that. It should be a heck of a way to kick off our Dakota Bowl coverage coming up on Friday morning. We'll break. We come back. We'll take our final break of Hot Mic because we got Bison Media Zone coming up. We'll get you ready for a busy sports Wednesday and wrap things up. Back on a Wednesday morning spectacular right after this.